We're back, and we're getting on the topic of the New York Rangers and Pittsburgh Penguins and Marty St. Louis. Of course, his mother passing Thursday, just days before Mother's Day. He came out with an emotional Game 5 and even more emotional Game 6, scoring a goal. And the team, down 3-1, looked like it was going to be over. Now tied up the series. It's 3-3. Winner take all, Game 7 tonight. Do you like the chances for the New York Rangers, especially what's all transpired with Marty St. Louis? It seems like it's galvanized them to rally behind this man.
Well, yeah, they looked like they were dead in the water, and it looked like it was going to be the Penguins series to win, and then all of a sudden, just one player changed that thing around. One thing that all the players kind of bonded together for, and it was for Marty, and it's fantastic what's happened, because now it's going to be very interesting in Pittsburgh. The bomb's going to go off if the Penguins lose tonight.
You have to think the passing of his mother did kind of obviously spark him. It was emotional for him, and I think his teammates rallied around him. You hate to see them have to rally around him under those circumstances, obviously. But I know I watched a YouTube video. They had him giving a speech to the team after the game, after the last win, and they were definitely rooting for him, and everyone was behind him. So I think that's kind of turned the series around in unfortunate circumstances. But I honestly am picking the Rangers tonight.
With all the evil, there is some certain good. And I think what happened there is we could all relate that we have mothers, that we have somebody to care for. A man has just lost his. So I think that has really transpired and really, like you say, guys, galvanized this team and makes them a lot dangerous. Now, Basler, I know you say the Rangers are going to win tonight. But here's the thing. Well, at least a good at least let's say momentum is on their side.
Yeah, for sure.
We can all agree with that. What happens to Pittsburgh? They're 1-7 all time. Game 7s at home. Not a good record, considering you have one of the best or the best player in the world, maybe number 2 in Evgeny Malkin. I know goaltending's been a situation, but he's played well, Marc-Andre Fleury, that is. What happens to Dan Bylsma if they lose Game 7? Is he gone?
He gone.
He gone if they lose. In fact, if they don't make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, he might be gone. You mentioned he's got the best player in the world. He's got one of, Malkin's hit or miss. He can be the best player in the world if he decides to show up. I think Bylsma's, they've been consistent, just hasn't taken it to that next level since 2009. I think he'll be the one to blame. Who else? What are they going to do? Trade Sid?
Well, there's got to be something wrong with Sid. I know they're not saying it, but he's just not playing like Sid. There's got to be some kind of hidden injury they're not talking about. And the other thing that really bugs me about Pittsburgh, there's nobody there to protect him. He's taken a lot of shots, and nobody's stepping up.
He doesn't have a Lucic type guy.
He doesn't have that, and you need a bit of a bully in Pittsburgh to kind of protect him. You put a couple of guys from Boston into Pittsburgh, they're a different looking team.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, honestly, boys, whoever comes out of Boston, Montreal is going to win the East. I don't see the Rangers or Pittsburgh going against Boston, Montreal. But, back to Sid. You say he's banged up. There's a lot of guys that are banged up right now. It's the playoffs.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. We're going to move on to football. Of course, NFL draft happened last weekend. Michael Sam, drafted 241st overall, the first openly gay athlete to be drafted in the NFL, got picked by the St. Louis Rams. Now, this is big news. However, a lot of controversy has happened. Some guys on Twitter have been saying, you know what, I don't agree with this. One being Calgary Stampeders receiver Mo Price. He's since deleted his negative tweets, has been substantially fined by the Calgary Stampeders. What do you do to a receiver like this? Is it one of those things? Do you say no? Or do you have a zero tolerance policy, much like you had Donald Sterling, and say, you know what, for those comments, we kick you off the team?
Well, okay, what Sterling said was racist. What Price said, what's the difference? What is the difference? What Sterling said and what Price said. They should be held accountable, both of them, and Price should be
suspended, fine. But should he be kicked off the team or kicked out of the league?
He won't.
Is that too far? Is that too much?
I just wish some of these guys would use their brains and not do this stuff when we have these situations. And I don't know if you saw Kenyon ramble on Twitter too about how he agreed with another Calgary Stampeder and how he was on Maurice Price's side and the Calgary Stampeder shouldn't be punishing him. Like, I don't know. Some of these guys just got to keep their mouth shut or their Twitter off limits. Like, just these comments they make that are so unnecessary.
And especially being an athlete, that it's going to be magnified twice as much as, say, some average Joe on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Social media, you love it, but at the same time, it can kill you and bury you if you don't manage it correctly. And as a sports organization, even with my hockey club, we manage it to the point where the boys are very careful what they put on Twitter.
And I think that's a message for all of us out there. We'll move on to the CFL. We'll still continue with it. However, the NFL or CFL draft, that is tonight. But a lot of talk, and is the I guess the limelight, we'll call it, has been on the potential CFL strike. Now, of course, with training camp opening up in about 2 weeks' time, a little over 2 weeks' time, the current CBA is going to be between the league and the Players Association expires by that time. So, will we see a CFL league go into a strike? Do we see an 11th hour deal? And if there is a strike, guys, how detrimental will that be to the league?
I think they'll reach a deal. I don't think we miss any of the season. Maybe training camp gets pushed back, but I think for a lot of these guys, like, there's a difference between the NHL striking and the CFL. A good chunk of guys in the CFL are working other jobs. You know, they're not making millions in the CFL. This is, like, they need that money to survive. You know, a lot of them are teachers or realtors or something on the side because they don't make enough to survive. So I think their hands are a little bit tied because they feel like, you know, they need a deal.
Yeah, every CFL team maybe has 3 or 4 guys that actually make a career out of playing football. They're their marquee players for that franchise. All the rest of them, they could be the guy you're buying a house from. They could be the guy at the lumber yard. It could be the guy working the oil field down in southern Saskatchewan. That's the CFL players for you. And for grassroots football, and that's why the Canadian fans love this game so much, that if they go on strike, it could really damage the product out there. And if they go on a strike, and if it lasts any kind of length of time, you wonder what's going to happen in Toronto. You wonder what's going to happen in Montreal. Saskatchewan will be fine. Winnipeg will be fine. Calgary, Edmonton.
Even Look at Ottawa just getting their team back.
And Vancouver will be fine. But out east, it's scary. Like, it's scary. Toronto is on the bubble of if something goes wrong, they could be done.
All right, guys.
Montreal's not that far behind.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have over-under next.